eating my little guzzlers in celebration of National Hobbit Day, which is celebrated every September on Bilbo and Frodo's birthday, because, well, of course you know, Bilbo and Frodo had the same day. They were different ages, obviously, because of the big one. All the fuss came about was his 111th. Is that right? I can't remember now how to say it. Anyway, Bilbo's anyway. So, we're going to make Bilbo sea cake. He gave me the recipe before he went off to the Grey Havens. So we're going to start with, it's a little bit smaller, but about a 10 by 5 inch loaf pan. And I'm just going to give it a good spray round. If you've not got your spray, actually this is the first time I've used this spray, you can butter it. And then I'm just going to put some baking paper in there, partly to make it a little bit easier to lift this out. It's also suggested you might want to flour it. So that is our loaf tin ready. So now let's make Bilbo's special seed cake. We start this cake with some sugar. I've got some caster sugar there. I've got butter everywhere. It's got really soft. It's leaking everywhere, as it were. 150 grams of sugar. And then some nice softened butter. 169 grams of that. And we're just going to cream this together, as you do. You're going to want 333 grams of plain flour, teaspoon of baking powder, a tablespoon of ground almonds, a tablespoon of whole milk, 3 eggs, and of course, because it's a seed cake, we need some seeds in it, and we're using caraway seeds, so we got 2 teaspoons of those. So first off, let me just cream this sugar and butter. And by the way, get your oven to about 170 Celsius. Now, so let's whip that air into it. It's got nice and light in colour. Where's my sieve gone? There it is. So now, because I haven't pre-sieved it, I'm going to put my flour through that sieve. My baking powder's going in there. And I'm going to add about 1/4 teaspoon of fine salt. So, Bilbo, like all the other hobbits, they did love their sweet treats. They just love food, full stop. But cakes, pastries, anything like that. And obviously this was Bilbo's favourite. That's what he told me anyway. So, in that goes. So, we've got our ground almonds there, we've got our caraway seeds, and we've got our milk. But at this stage, I just want to get this mixed in first. Now, at this point, we're going to add in our eggs. So I've got 3 eggs. I'm just going to add one at a time, beat them in. Now, you might think, normally you would do that with butter and sugar mix. Being a Hobbit, they do things a bit slightly differently, all right? If you don't want to do it a Hobbit way, beat your eggs in with sugar and butter once you've whipped the sugar and butter together. Now it's getting a little bit thick for the mixer, so we're going to do by hand. So next, in goes those ground almonds and the milk. So all we're left with at the minute is those caraway seeds, but I just want to get this in as much as possible. I am beginning to think, actually, I'll put that bit of paper in the pan thinking it'll help lift the cake out later, but this is a bit stiffer than like a bread dough, so I'm wondering whether it's going to work, but anyway, we'll see. And now finally, I'm going to sprinkle in them seeds, Bilbo's favourite. and we just want to make sure they're all nicely spread through that dough mixture. Now, I said to you, you want your oven about 170, and we're going to bake it in that tin, uncovered, for about 45 to 50 minutes. Okay, the usual trick is you test it with a skewer or toothpick or something like that, and to see if it comes out clean. Right, I think that might be good to go. So now I'm just going to tip this into this. This is quite a deep loaf tin I've got out, but it is slightly smaller. I said to you 10 by 5, yeah, so it is slightly smaller, so the extra height might be useful. So it's all in there now, and all we're going to do is I just want to spread it out and just try and get it into them corners, because although I said it's obviously not as quite as thick as a bread dough, it is nonetheless not that runny, and also it's sticking to me bloody structure as I'm trying to spread them. Plus it's sliding around a little bit in that pan. Now try and smooth the top off, which is easier said than done in that depth, but there we go. So like I say, that's now going to go in that oven, and we're going to cook it for 45 to 50 minutes. I'm going to keep my eye on it and look at it at 30, and we'll see how we go. Right, so 50 minutes. It did split quite early. It looked very pale. I've given it longer. When I tested it, the weird thing is it doesn't look like it's quite done in the middle here, but when I tested it, it is coming out clean. So it's an odd looking cake, okay, the crust on it, but we're just going to let that cool for about 5 minutes in the pan, and then we'll lift it out. That'll give a chance just to shrink away a little bit, but not obviously then set to the pan. Bloody well, well, it's still quite warm, but got to give it a go. So let's just take the end off. It's quite warm inside. It's looking a little bit gummy, but that's a bit like when you cut bread too soon. You need to give it a chance to dry out. Let's just take a... I do like them bits, but let's try that bit like that. We can see the seeds in it, and also a hole for some reason, but there you go. Quite a nice sort of almost sponge cake texture. It feels very warm. The crust on the outside is almost a little bit caramelised, which I suppose the way it has. You've got that sort of caraway flavour. I want to say a hint of aniseed. Not excessive amount of caraway seed, so it doesn't sort of almost have like nutty texture, if you like. But very nice. Perfect. Sat there in your little hole. Hobbit hole. nice mug tea, or even a nice glass of old vineyard. Oh, can't go wrong. Thanks, Bilbo, for your recipe. Bilbo's favourite seed cake. I might enjoy that with something else a little later. Wonder what.